You're entering a natural mystic zone.
Greetings one and all, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all well. I am Natural Mystic, I am bouncing back. I hope you all are too. This is a little bit of a kind of a story time, but also a sort of capturing what's happening in the world moment, basically, with the Sarah Everard case that has come to an end in many ways. The officer himself was given a complete life sentence, but it's a bit of a chat with my own experiences that I've also had with the Popo Police Federale bully beef. I'm not going to use the other words that we use to describe them. So yeah, stay tuned, and here comes the intro. All right, let's start at the beginning. So I was with an individual who was quite well known by the police, and it just meant that my interaction and engagement with them increased from 0 to pretty much every other weekend. It's not even something to laugh about, to be quite honest, but I will give you a little bit of a situation that I was in, and just some insights in regards to how I've personally dealt with the police, or how I've been dealt with by the police. Okay, so yeah, if you like this one, like, you know what I mean, obviously give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I'll try and put the subscribe thing down here so it at least pops up on the screen when I'm doing it. And yeah, hit the bell. I don't post often, really, or I don't upload things often, but that will increase as time goes on, depending on what sort of content my audience likes, and trying to get to 100 subscribers at least. Okay, said that in the last video, in the last upload, in the last vlog. 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Okay, that would be nice. So here we go. Right, thank you for continuing to stay with me on my journey, and yeah, stay tuned. So like I said, I was with this guy. I was with him for quite some time, tribulations. I'll probably do some more story times about this one relationship, because trust me, it's enough to fill a book, a trilogy, yeah, because it's just unbelievable what I put myself through. Let's just keep it real. I put myself through it. I chose to be there, and that we'll just leave that there. Anyway, but this particular scenario is actually quite funny. So, not funny, but this is how, like I said, engagement, interaction with the police, and being a female, how it hasn't affected me going forward, fortunately, because I don't live that life anymore, and I'm not around those enforcement officers for any reasons. So, and I try and stay clear, to be quite honest with you, just to keep my head. I've done my bit. You know what I mean? In that sense, I've done my bit. So I was out with one of my ex-partners. Let's call him, what should we call him? Let's call him Capricorn. That makes it easy for the brain, yeah. So I was out with Capricorn, and one of his male associate friends, business partners, and we were out in one of our cars. I can't remember which one it is. We had so many that not all at the same time, but we just had so many different cars, all right, throughout the relationship. So I can't remember which particular vehicle we were in at this time. And we were in a place called South Kilburn, which is in northwest London, for anyone who doesn't know. We'd been out and about for the whole day, doing what it is we did, you know what I mean, run-ins, checking in on people, hustling, basically, and doing what it is we had to do to make it through that particular day, all right? We'd also been to one of my family members' houses, and they wanted some gardening doing. So we actually had, as what you would call a machete at the time, or a cutlass, kind of, you know, but it was a gardening tool. It was for cutting down bushes and grass, and basically, like I said, to tend into the garden, that sort of thing. So that's what we had been doing periodically throughout the day. So in the boot of the vehicle I was driving, was this said machete that we had been using to do the gardening. I just want to make sure I stress that we'd been doing gardening, right? So we're sitting in South Kilburn, probably not the best place to be parked up, full stop, point blank, regardless of what it is you're doing, good, bad, or indifferent. And we were waiting to collect another passenger, so that means there would have been 4 of us in total. But while we were waiting on this particular road for this person to come and meet us, a bully van pulled up. And inside this van, there were at least 8-9 officers, plus the driver, sort of thing, yeah? So they pulled up behind us where we were parked, and obviously there was a little bit of a panic because people had things on them that they shouldn't have. Let's just put it that way, yeah? But what we noticed when they all got out of the vehicle, out of the van, is that they were all male. So there was this flurry in my vehicle to give me all the stuff. I can't even believe I'm saying this. To give me all the stuff that they shouldn't have had as men, and me being a female, I started tucking things in certain places. Hopefully they wouldn't be found or I wouldn't be searched. All right. Right, sorry, I had to take a quick break. So there was this kind of scurry in the car, this panic that was going on. So I had all this stuff tucked in various places. Like I said, police come over to the car and they're like, yeah, could everybody get out, or could you know what I mean, in that sense. So we were kind of, yeah, we ain't done that, and we're just sitting here. There isn't actually a reason for us to be getting out of the vehicle, but in order for the situation to be diffused, hopefully, potentially, fingers crossed, a lot quicker, let's just comply, right? Not argue, not say nothing. So we got out of the vehicle, and like we said, we noticed there was nothing but male officers. So we actually were like, this worked in our favor. Well, I knew that it worked in my favor. So they patted down and searched the other 2 gentlemen that I was with, my partner and his friend, Capricorn, and his mate. Like I said, the person we were waiting on hadn't come to the vehicle or hadn't come to meet us yet, so it was just the 3 of us still. So they're standing over by the wall on the pavement, being patted down and whatnot. Meanwhile, they're asking me if they could search the vehicle, and I'm like, yeah, of course you can, because I know that there's nothing in the vehicle apart from the machete in the boot, which we've been using for the gardening, okay? So in the meanwhile, they open the boot. I tell them what's in the boot before they even bother to find, like they found it. Oh, look what we found. No. I'm telling you it's there, okay? I'm not stupid. I'm complying. I've never had to go through these types of scenarios before. So I'm actually innocent in this situation, if you see what I'm saying, in regards to my thought processes, all right? Now, I'm not saying that it's okay to drive around with a machete in the boot. No, it isn't. But if you do have to do something that involves what could be deemed as a dangerous instrument, whether it be a saw or a tree pruner or a machete, the best thing to do as a responsible citizen is to put it in the boot. Okay, therefore, anything that happens, they have to look at the premeditation, okay? By something being in the boot, it means that it's actually harder to get hold of. Yes, that means you have to think about getting out of the car, turning it off, going around the back of the car, opening the boot potential, pressing the button to open the boot, to go round there to get out whatever object it is in order to then inflict injury or whatever it is, yeah? So there is a way to protect yourself is by carrying something in the boot. And I'm not saying to carry something in the boot in order to do something to somebody, no. I'm just saying if you are legitimately having to carry what could be deemed as a weapon, the best place to put it in your vehicle is in the boot, okay? Where it cannot be accessed easily is what I'm trying to say. So they obviously open it. What I've told them is confirmed. They see it and they're kind of like, oh, this is interesting. Well, it can be as interesting as you want to make out to be. We've been doing gardening. Look at us. We are covered in mud, yeah, and grass. We don't look as if we have been in a fight, should we say, or, you know, we don't look suspicious in that respect, just from this scenario, what they're seeing. So like, oh, we're going to have to take the machete for testing. And I'm like, well, okay, but when will I get it back? I was like, oh no, we're just going to do a test in the back of the van to see if it's ever had any blood on it and that sort of thing. So I'm like, okay, the most you're going to find on there is probably some worm blood, where we've hacked something down, or some snail juice, where we've accidentally killed an insect. Do you know what I mean, in that sense? Meanwhile, they're testing that. They've come over to me, and this is where it gets interesting. 2 of the officers have come over to me, and they said, because there are no female officers present, we can either take you to the station where you can be searched. And I'm like, well, I haven't done anything, so why am I being searched? But this is what's going through my head. Or you can do like a jump up and down on the spot test to see if anything falls out of a pocket or of a crevice in case you're hiding something. Okay, so here I am on the side of the road like a freaking dancing puppet, jumping up and down. Lo and behold, in my head, I'm thinking, I pray nothing fall out. Otherwise, I'm going station. I'm going station, and them 2 are not going station. I'm going station. It's my car. It's my machete, and I've got everything on me. Do not put yourself in this situation, ladies. Do not. No man is worth you doing time for. And that's a different story. I will come back to that differently. But the message here is, do not do things for others, especially a man that so-called loves you. That can jeopardize your future, your career, your livelihood, your family, okay? But the reason why I suppose this has triggered this thought process is the way the police handled the situation at the time. Knowing that I was outnumbered by the number of males that were actually on the scene, knowing that I was outnumbered by the number of officers, just as male officers. No female officers were able to come at that time. But the way they handled the situation with what I say, it's kind of disrespectful the way they made me jump up and down. But the fact that they didn't try to touch me, they didn't ask me to lift or remove any of my clothing in any way. They conducted themselves as professionally as they could in regards to the way they handled that scenario. So looking at the way this whole situation happened with, unfortunately, with Sarah Everard being taken by this officer, it just comes to my mind that I've always been suspicious of men, regardless of the badge they're carrying or the job they do or the position that I may have to put myself in, being in male company. Even at work, for example, the role that I do now, I'm predominantly, again, in a male-dominated environment. So there are situations where I'm the only woman on the premises with maybe 2 or 3 men. Now, this is not to bash men in any way. This is kind of a balanced conversation where it is that I'm coming from. I actually spoke to one of my colleagues recently in regards to a similar scenario where he found himself with 1 woman and 2 or 3 men in a building, and he said he felt uncomfortable. He felt uncomfortable for her. She didn't look or appear to be uncomfortable. She just went along her normal lunchtime duties, you know what I mean? Like making tea, coffee, having a chat, how you doing, lads? But he just kind of felt a little bit, and he didn't know what to do. So he was like, do I stay in the building with the 2 other men and her? Or does my uncomfortability make me want to leave this environment? But then suppose something, do you see what I'm saying? So he was, right? So there's a lot going on in it, but I'm not taking away what this man did to Sarah, or what men may do to women, and in some instances what women do to men. So that's why I said it's a balanced conversation. I know the percentages in regards to crime against women is a lot different from crime against men, from women and that sort of thing. So it's not to try and justify it in any way, but it's just to kind of be vigilant in all scenarios where other people are concerned. Whether it's late night, early morning, when we're predominantly traveling perhaps on our own as a woman. If you feel as if something suspicious is disturbing your energy, and for me it's an energy thing, because people always say to me, how come you go out late at night, Leash? How come you go for walks and stuff? Aren't you scared? The street lights go off in your area. Suppose someone jumps out and does something at you. I don't walk with that kind of energy or to attract that type of stuff to happen, if that makes sense. Enough's happened in my life without me being out late. Do you see what I'm saying? Enough stuff's happened to me from people I know, let alone strangers. Yeah? So it's just that to sort of give you that scenario when dealing with males, when dealing with the police. If there's a situation where you feel uncomfortable, you try and get witnesses, or you move yourself away from that situation where possible. Stranger danger. I don't know why it is that we think everybody wants to be our friend in this day and age. Growing up as a youngster, we were made aware of a stranger danger. And like I said, a lot of the stuff I went through was predominantly from people I actually knew or grew up with, or from the same area. Do you see what I'm saying? It wasn't a stranger, someone from outside the ends or nothing like that. So just be aware, innit? And regardless, like I said, of the badge that somebody's holding or the job that they say that they do, verification. Just verification is basically what it is. Do we not like verify identity cards? Do we not check who we're letting into our lives per se, even into our homes? Do you see where I'm coming from? Bouncing back, not into it, but bouncing out of it. Yeah, so bouncing back in life in general, just kind of moving forward. I know it sounds weird, it's a bit of irony, it's a bit of contradiction in what it is, but I know what it means. And it has made me, like I said, more vigilant, dealing with the general public, going into people's homes as a carer, going into people's homes as an engineer now, even letting people into my own home. Basically, like you got to get your gas checks done, or your electricity or something, plumbing goes wrong, and you have to have an engineer or some skilled tradesperson come into your home. And even though they say, oh, my name's so-and-so and I'm from so-and-so company, you're like, well, let me see your ID card. Why haven't you got it on display? Why isn't it the first thing you know what I mean? So there are things you can do to protect yourself when you're out. There are things you can do to protect yourself in your home also. And like I said, it's not just about women protecting themselves. It's also about men not putting themselves in a position where fingers can be pointed at them. Yeah, and trying their best to sort of be, what's the word I'm looking for? To be vigilant. Not just vigilant around what it is that they're doing, but to have, I can't think of the word, but just to be conscious. That's probably the word, the closest word I can find. To be conscious of their environment, of the energy of the female even, the way she may be talking to them. Sometimes you go into some people's homes, yeah, and they're so friendly face to face. But let something go wrong, yeah, the smallest thing, and you happen to be in the home during the time that's something, and then do you see what I'm saying? Or they can't find something, for example. Energy shifts, completely different, yeah? So this was a bit like all over the place, but it was more to do with, like I said, the way we carry ourselves as women, the way we sort of talk to men more than anything, but also the way that we look at people in authority in society, and to not always think that they've got our best interests at heart. My scenario, this particular situation with dealing with the bully van, that was a good outcome, yeah? They didn't find anything untoward going on. They said, and they advised, it's probably not the best area to be sitting in, parked up waiting for somebody. Hopefully our friend comes soon so we can get out of the area, just because it was known for certain things, do you know what I mean, to happen in and around the area. So we knew that. We're from the ends, do you know what I mean? But it was just to say that, yeah, that was one scenario that I was involved in with the police that actually was okay. It wasn't nice to deal with them full stop, point blank, but the fact is that we all got in the vehicle and drove away. Nobody went to a station, nobody got charged, nobody, was injured. We all walked away with our lives. There was no abuse, there was no reports made, and that was pretty much it, do you know what I mean? So yeah, just be aware of everything that's happening, and to those women who have experienced bullying and not being handled right by the authorities, by the enforcement agencies, by the police, security guards even, when you're going out shopping, they suspect you of theft and stuff like that. For those of us who've had to have those, engagements, interactions with these people, just bear in mind that each situation is very unique. Each individual person you meet is unique. They're not going to be the same, even though they do the same job. All right, just be careful out there in all walks of life. I'm not saying be scared, No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying be fearful. No, what I'm saying is be vigilant. Be aware of your environment. Plot out routes, escape routes. Plot your journey. Let people know where you're going. Check in with people at the beginning and the end of each day. Send a text message, have code words that you may need. You might just have to do a last call, and if the person who hears knows that there's a special code word that you're using, which means you're in danger. So the person that you're actually in front of doesn't know that, the word onomatopoeia or equilibrium or whatever word it is you choose, which is completely not part of your everyday language. Choose a word, mushrooms, or it's maybe not mushrooms because people like mushrooms, but maybe something. You'll find a word that sticks out and use that as your sort of your highlight word for people to actually pay attention to what's going on, or maybe to dial the police in order to report what's going on. But make sure police officers are in twos. As they've been saying, where possible, ask for a female officer to be present if something's going on. Do not get in vehicles if you feel unsafe being around police officers. If they feel like they're forcing you, scream. Hopefully a member of the public will see that something untoward is going on. So if you've not been involved in a violent crime and they've just stopped you for the sake of it, and then there's this hands-on thing that they're doing, make noise, fuss, fight for your life if that's what it is. That's what we have to do in this day and age. Just make yourself as big and as loud and as obvious as possible. And unfortunately, it's not everything and everybody we can trust. Trust in self, and knowing your own instincts and knowing your own self is the best way to go first. Knowing how to maybe do a few self-defense moves, knowing how to stand properly so you're not caught off guard and pushed and that sort of thing. There are lots of things that we can do as individuals to just keep ourselves safe, or as safe as possible in the environment and society that we're living in today. So with all that being said, thank you so much. I know I said it was a bit of a story time, but it was just kind of around the like I said, my experience with the police. I've got others, so I'll probably share those going forward as well. And like I said, this is all from one relationship. One man created 4 years of actual physical drama in my life, but then 25 years of repercussions. So stay tuned for more chats, more information, more advice, more guidance. And just because I'm giving it to you doesn't mean I use it myself. This is stuff that I say to myself. This is stuff that I do, that I implement, that I practice, that I master. And I know it works for me, so hopefully it will work for you. As I said at the beginning, I am Natural Mystic. I am bouncing back. I hope you all are too. Subscribe, trying to get to those 100 followers at least, do you know what I mean, by the end of the year. So share this with a friend. Just say, do you know what, there's this girl, she's doing something a little bit different. I know it's just conversation, but it's the level of conversation, the experience that it comes with, and the guidance and the resolution and the solutions that come thereafter. I'm not just going to drop a problem out there and not provide some sort of avenue out of it, all right? So we'll keep this journey going. This is Journey in the Journey, Life with Leash, Resonate with Rena. You know how to find me. Peace out. I'm going. It's the same. Not every day do I get to sit around or appreciate, life, basically. Because it wasn't too long ago that I didn't really want to be here. Backside.